Hello everyone, I hope you guys all had an awesome spring break. Even though I'm gonna admit it didn't really feel like spring break because it snowed 2 of the days, but I pray that those wintry days are behind us and we're all ready for spring weather and sunshine. I think we need it, guys. I think we're in good shape. Okay, we are jumping back into our book today. Before Easter break, we talked about immigration and the reasons people move to different places. So they might go to a different place or move to a different place because they want a better education, because they are getting a job somewhere else, because they want a better life for their family. So those are all just a few examples of reasons why people move to the United States. You guys did a very good job with your immigrant diaries, putting yourself in the shoes of those immigrants, imagining how they would feel. How you would feel if you were in their position. So a lot of people said they'd feel nervous and scared and anxious. A lot of people said they'd be eager and excited. So all those emotions are what those immigrants felt when they were coming to a new country. So I loved your answers. I loved your responses. And this week we're kind of going to tie in what we talked about with immigration and kind of put it in a new context. So we're learning about sharing cultures, which in the beginning of the year we talked a lot about culture. In our own cultures and our family's culture. And now we're going to be building on that and talking about how in America we share cultures and we don't even have the time to realize it, right? Because that's the good thing about our country is that we have so many different cultures that make us very diverse and unique, which we'll be learning about all of that throughout this lesson. So open your book if you have it to 332. If you don't have it, you could just listen along with us. Let's look at our what to know, which is our central focus. What are we going to be reading? What are we going to be able to tell you about by the end of this lesson? So the what to know is how do different groups in the United States share their cultures? Okay, so that's something to think about as we read. How do different groups in the United States share their cultures? What do they do to help share their cultures? So I want you to think about that, and we're on 332. All people bring their own cultures and customs to communities. A custom is a way of doing something. For example, it is a custom in the United States for people to greet each other by shaking hands. In Japan, some people greet others by bowing. So when we meet someone for the first time, pretty much the normal thing to do is shake hands with them. In Japan, they might bow. So those are just two very different things, but those are custom to each country. Different customs make communities in the United States diverse or different. These differences give people the opportunity to learn more about other cultures. So our country is diverse. It is like a melting pot. People come from all over and bring their customs and their traditions, and that's what makes America so unique because we have people from all over the world. It's not like one set custom is here or one set tradition is here or one set culture is here. We have tons, right? On 333, Washington, D.C. Like most large cities, Washington, D.C. has many ethnic groups. An ethnic group is a group of people who have the same language, culture, and way of life. Each ethnic group brings some of its culture to the community. Some neighborhoods are made up of mainly the same ethnic groups. The Chinatown area of Washington, D.C. began when Chinese immigrants moved there in the 1800s. It has many Chinese restaurants and shops. So you might have seen Chinatown in downtown Chicago. So we have that ethnic group here in our city, and I feel like our city is pretty diverse too. I know they're talking about Washington, D.C. here, but we know from our knowledge that our city is very diverse and have many different groups of people as well. Other people live in more multicultural neighborhoods. Multicultural neighborhoods have many different cultures. Adams Morgan is a Washington, D.C. neighborhood where many Latin American, Caribbean, African, and Asian Americans live. So we kind of have that, again, in Chicago, multicultural neighborhoods. So multi means many. Cultural is like cultures. So if we put those together, multicultural, there's many different cultures within these neighborhoods. So they're saying in this one particular neighborhood, there's Latin Americans, Caribbeans, Africans, Asians, very diverse groups of people, right, in one area. Okay, go ahead and turn to page 334. Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland is another community with many cultures. Cleveland is located in northern Ohio on Lake Erie. African Americans make up one of its largest ethnic groups. Many African American families came to Cleveland during the Great Migration. The city also has a large Italian, Czech, Irish, and Polish groups, as well as many other groups. The city's multiculturalism can be seen in the Cleveland Cultural Gardens. These gardens honor more than 20 different ethnic groups. Together, the gardens show Cleveland's ethnic diversity. Okay, so if we look at that little picture on 334 of the map, Ohio is 2 states over from us, so it's 2 states to the east from us. And it sounds pretty similar to what we experience here in Chicago. Many different groups coming to one space to live and create their lives for themselves. 335. A city of traditions. Every ethnic group has its own beliefs and traditions. A tradition is a custom that is passed on to others. Visitors to Cleveland's Little Italy neighborhood enjoy traditional Italian foods. They can watch Italian musicians and traditional dancers at neighborhood events. Visitors to Cleveland's Huff neighborhood enjoy African American traditions. They can visit the African American Museum to learn about their traditional art, culture, and history. So you guys might celebrate certain traditions based on your family's culture. So I have cousins that have their mom is from Spain, so they every year celebrate, not every year, but whenever it's one of the girls' birthdays, they celebrate her quinceañera, which is her 15th birthday. That's kind of their tradition with their family. A tradition on our community south side is the Southside Irish Parade to celebrate the Irish community. So there's many different traditions out there, and there's many different things that people do to celebrate their specific culture. So if you celebrate something different, if your family has a culture and celebrates something unique, I would love to hear what you guys celebrate and maybe love to hear what your tradition is. So let me know if you guys do anything different like that. Go on to 336. Chamblee, Georgia. Chamblee is a small city in Georgia. About 10,000 people live there. Like Cleveland, Chamblee has different ethnic neighborhoods. Its largest ethnic groups include Hispanic and Southeast Asian immigrants. An international city. Visitors to Chamblee have many opportunities to enjoy the city's multicultural diversity. It has about 100 different businesses owned by immigrants. Many of these are restaurants that offer traditional foods from other countries. There are Mexican, Vietnamese, Greek, Thai, and other restaurants. There are also Chinese bookstores and Mexican music stores. Immigrant groups have brought many changes to Chamblee. They help the community grow. They bring money into the community with their businesses. They also continue to build a diverse community by sharing their customs and traditions. I'm going to read the summary. Communities in the United States are made up of people from many different ethnic groups. People share their cultural traditions where they live. So, let's go back to 336 when they're talking about Chamblee, Georgia. So it says, an international city. Visitors to Chamblee have many opportunities to enjoy the city's cultural diversity. So cultural diversity, well, we know diversity is different. Diversity means different. So if there's cultural diversity, that means they're celebrating many different cultures there. So there's Mexican, Vietnamese, Greek, Thai, and other restaurants, and that's just one example of the diversity that they're celebrating in that city. So something really interesting to think about is how have we celebrated different cultures that we might have not even realized. You might have, I'm sure you've all been to maybe a Mexican restaurant or a Chinese restaurant or an Italian restaurant, and those are traditions and the food that people brought from their homeland, and they're sharing with us here, and we get to experience that every day. We're very lucky that we get to experience that here in the United States. We kind of live in that, like I said, melting pot. Many different cultures, many different people. Okay, so you guys have a few questions to answer on Flipgrid, which are all posted on my Google site. If you would rather send me an email of them or comment below, look at me, YouTuber, comment below your answers, whatever's easiest for you guys. But definitely answer those questions, and I look forward to hearing your guys' responses.